Welcome to the American Diversity Report podcasts, where we interview innovative change makers and creative major people in the diversity field. I'm Deborah Levine, the editor of the American Diversity Report, and with me today is a very special woman, Ashley Perryman. Ashley is the VP of Global Human Resources at Spiceworks Ziff Davis and holds the position of president at Mezcla, its first Latinx ERG. Ashley devotes her efforts to ensure people of all backgrounds feel welcome and thrive in the workplace, and was recently named a top DEI influencer in HR. Congratulations, Ashley, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in all of this and why.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the background that I have in HR was accidental. I tripped and fell into human resources work by way of my love for people and actually a mission-driven organization. I was in a nonprofit and I wanted to help to grow it. And that was the way that I felt like I could help to grow it, was to formalize a background in HR and recruitment and training and ongoing talent development, and then obviously compliance and helping the nonprofit organization to grow. By way of my work in HR, I began to really advocate for people of all backgrounds, for businesses to and nonprofit organizations to make way for people from different perspectives, different backgrounds, and started to formalize the initiatives that businesses were bringing in to their companies. So I came into DEI and B, so diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work by way of my people work, by way of HR.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so here you are today in the corporate world.
Yeah, I am in the corporate world. Made the shift over to the dark side, as my nonprofit friends would say. So it came over a long time ago, but now I'm at Spiceworks Ziff Davis, and Spiceworks Ziff Davis is a global IT marketplace. We're a division of Ziff Davis, a publicly traded company here based in the US, but we are a global brand where many companies that have come together really focus on equipping IT pros with the solutions that help them to be successful, and equipping our IT solution sellers who want to get their solutions in the hand of IT pros with the right types of data and input so that they can connect to the buyers successfully. So we're one brand of many across Ziff Davis. And we've got people from all walks of life, from various regions of the world. And Spiceworks Ziff Davis has a HR team that spans both the US and the UK and Australia and India and so on. And I get the pleasure of leading the team. But really, my personal passion project is doing a lot of work in the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging space. So really exciting to be here and to chat with you about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's certainly a space that we need filled these days, and I'm sure you have a full plate doing your work. So tell us a little bit about your work. What has happened here these days, and what are you focused on?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned earlier, some of the work that I do formally within Spiceworks Ziff Davis is leading up the Latinx ERG, which actually spans across Spiceworks Ziff Davis and the other brands across Ziff Davis. And so the Latinx ERG was first formed earlier this year, so just earlier in 2021, in order to recognize the Latinx community that spans across Ziff Davis, to bring a sense of community to those with shared heritage, but then also to create and cultivate a community across our ecosystem to elevate Latinx talent, to provide ongoing leadership and development training to our Latinx talent, but also to act as a strategic business partner across the business as we utilize the Latinx brain trust that comes from as a result of Mezcla to be able to help to Ziff Davis to continue to grow forward as a company.
Given the demographics, especially here in the States, I imagine that's a very important role to be playing.
Yeah, I think, specifically for in the US, diversity in the workplace comes in many forms. We're definitely talking about underrepresented groups in the technology space when we're talking about Spiceworks Ziff Davis in particular. And it's just been proven already. We all can agree, I think, that higher rates of workplace diversity lead us to better business outcomes. So in terms of being able to problem solve, being able to innovate, evolve, be more efficient, we're better because we offer different types of perspectives, experiences, backgrounds, and so on. So that all leads us to better business outcomes. But really the importance, I think, just cannot be understated in terms of creating diverse workplaces. And so the work that I'm able to do as a part of Mezcla, and we're really able to do just as a part of the diversity initiatives within Spiceworks Ziff Davis, is to help our employees to create a better sense of community, increase worker engagement, create higher personal trust, which creates high performing teams. You create a more positive corporate culture by encouraging all of this inclusivity and an inclusive approach to the way that we make decisions, like who's in the room, whose opinion matters, whose opinions are valued, how can we drive towards business objectives, what can we do next in order to continue to grow the business. So it's way more than I think maybe 20 years ago somebody would have said, like, diversity work is fluff, or like HR work and inclusivity is fluff. We want everyone to feel good and sentiments, but there's no true business outcome to these things. We've clearly dispelled those things as a part of the work that we've been doing as a diversity worker, as a diversity focused worker in the space. But the technology industry definitely has a long way to go in terms of continuing to diversify the workforce, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. But it is absolutely important work that is, one step of a million in a journey.
Right. Well, there's a lot of competition these days, is there not, for talent, and diverse talent in particular? And,
Yes.
and we read about it in the newspapers and see it on the news. This is a very tough
Yes.
situation. How's it going
Yes.
for you?
Yes, I think we've all seen the headlines, right? Like global talent war for talent, global war on talent, all of these various kind of buzzwords. We're definitely seeing that, especially with the global pandemic and the way that it really fast tracked the digitization of the world, and it allowed for companies that maybe weren't recruiting globally, weren't recruiting in specific regions, to be able to tap into specific regions due to remote workability and so on. And our business is no different. We're in a current talent war, a global talent war. And so we have to really be competitive to do some of those things. So within Spiceworks Ziff Davis in particular, our ERGs, Mezcla included, really help us to kind of shape the employee experience and help us to understand what is attractive to the Latinx community, what is attractive to the various groups that are underrepresented in the tech space. And for us, even within our business, we've got a recruiting workforce, a recruiting team that is extremely diverse. There are several Latinx recruiters on our team, and helping. We do that on purpose in order to help us to reflect who we're looking for. Those folks can represent our company, apply their unique brain power to the search for talent, help us to seek talent in the spaces in which the talent is hanging out. We also provide training to managers and other interviewers, and all of our employees on allyship, on approaching interview processes to avoid the negative consequences of bias. We all got bias, but we can help to try to navigate the negative consequences of bias, and trying to increase the number of underrepresented groups within our business. I mean, when I look at our diversity numbers, when I look at the way that we're filling our pipeline, that's one of the ways that we try to bring in more diverse talent. But it really does take things like our 2x referral bonus for underrepresented candidates that are hired into our recruiting, specifically with Hispanic serving higher education institutions, partnerships with community groups like Latin in Tech or Latinas in Tech or Latinitas, various types of businesses and community groups that are partnering in the communities that we want to poach from. We want to take the talent from community groups across the world, but in particular, yes, across the US. So we do establish those partnerships. We incentivize referral with higher referral bonuses, and we provide training and then establish some like accountability measures behind our training as well.
Right. A lot of work.
Yeah, it's exciting work. It is a heavy lift, and it's not one person by any stretch. It takes a full team.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit more about something you said about being able to illustrate in your workplace things that would appeal, right, to the Latinx community, so that when you go out and you talk to them and they may be looking for something in particular in your workplace, they will see what you can provide. What does that look like?
Yeah, that, I think for us, it really looks like listening to our talent and what the talent wants to see as a part of their workplace. We spend a lot of time at work, and I think the saying before pandemic was, we spend more time at work than we do at home. Well, now we're both places, but we're working, and so we want to be in places where we all of ourselves. So when I think about my personal existence as a Latina, I want to be in a place where I can bring my whole authentic self to work, where I'm psychologically safe, places where I can continue to grow, learn new skills, engage in projects that make me excited. And so when we listen to our talent, from various groups, we're able to then create initiatives and programs that can offer those things. So like Mezcla, our ERG, our Latinx ERG, we don't just want to offer salsa nights and tequila tastings. We want to make sure that it's beyond social events. We want to drive business efforts and have real impact and see Latina talent elevated, see Latinx talent elevated. We want to launch product roadmaps with business in mind. We want to drive the market activity within Latin American countries. We want to nurture the uniqueness of Latinx like leadership skills. The Latinx community is largely community focused, largely like a communal and family focused value set as a part of the Latinx community and culture. And so using that knowledge that gets shared with us by our Latinx talent or talent from various groups, we use that cultural intelligence to be able to create programs and initiatives, employee experiences that really do cater to the unique desires of those talents, so that we can attract, we can retain, we can develop, we can elevate talent from various backgrounds.
It sounds wonderful. It sounds like a real opportunity to move on from the earlier ERGs, which were so social, interactive. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but to move beyond that.
Yes.
To
with one step. One step.
Right. So once upon a time, we would have, sort of culture fairs where everyone would bring dishes and food that represented, their culture, and that's nice. But here we go, far away from that, to bring real substance to.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's merit to those experiences and that exposure and those fun time social activities. We just concluded or are about to conclude in the next couple of days the Hispanic Heritage Month 2021 celebrations. And those things included dance lessons and tastings and fun events, but it also included stories of courage where the Latinx and the LGBTQ plus community intersect. And it also included lessons of leadership and career conversations. And it also included things that allowed us to peel back some of the flair and pomp and circumstance of celebrating our heritage and shared community, but also be able to realize some of the key business contributions that we're able to bring to the Ziff Davis table. And as we, will end the month, we'll continue the momentum of those types of events, initiatives, and programs that'll help us to harness and elevate that talent on an ongoing basis.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, I need some dance lessons.
So fun.
Just so you know, once upon a time, I had my own dance company, and the power of dance and music to to be a window into culture, right, has
Yes,
always been with me. You don't have to
very much.
explain, you don't have to, give the history. It is what it has, this sort of neuroscience to it. Gets to people in ways that words may not.
So very true. So very true.
So, what's next for your ERG?
Yeah. What's next for us is actually going to be some career consejos. So some career focused advisory sessions. So consejo means advice. So we're going to be giving advisory sessions and really looking at internal mobility. Again, harnessing the brain trust and the value that Latinx talent can bring to the business as a whole. So we'll continue to do that work. We'll continue to develop and elevate Latinx leaders and talent across the business. But ultimately, across Spiceworks Ziff Davis and across Ziff Davis as a whole, we're aiming at continuing to do equity audits to look at, if there are any other practices or things that we can do in order to make our workplace a more equitable workplace, and providing more training, more awareness, more programming to help to ensure that we're operating in a way that is consistent with our values. We've got these 5 pillars of purpose that our CEO always talks about, and those ring true to being, focused on a diverse workplace and having the integrity to be able to put the feet to the fire. Doing is greater than talking is our motto. So we are trying to live that out in the way that we operate as well.
And how long have you been working with this company?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been with the company for, I guess, over a year now. So it's been about 14 months.
14 months.
Yeah.
Is it your presence in part that has been responsible for the creation of this ERG?
I cannot take any credit for launching the ideas of the ERGs. ERGs were definitely in discussions before my arrival. I'm not sure who kind of set up the timing for launching it, but we're able to launch it. I believe it was April earlier this year, and after some various conversations, I was appointed as president.
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the things I'm hoping is that you'll come back and share, maybe next year, how things are going. What have you done, and how have you progressed? How have people progressed within the corporation and
Yeah.
going up the ladder, right, to,
Yeah, I'd love to share. I think we're, going to be seeing lots of progression, and we'll have some data to be able to give to you about our increased awareness, accessibility, leadership seats, and ongoing initiatives and programs. So, would love to share with you again an update on kind of a progress bar of the work that we're doing.
wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
No, I think we have really covered it all. I think we've run the gamut in terms of some of the work that we're doing. I just, can't understate it enough, can't reiterate it enough that representation is not enough for the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work that many companies are doing. And so putting feet to the fire is always good. Let's encourage accountability and encourage everyone who hears this and partakes in this conversation or uses this to be a launch to a conversation to continue the good work, because the journey truly never stops.
Well, audience, you've got a message here that you should take back to your organization and make sure that your feet are on the fire and that we see results, because that's what we need these days, not just the verbiage.
Mhm, mhm. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure. Audience, thank you for listening in. We'll see you again soon. And the American Diversity Report podcasts remain a resource for all of you. Take care.